I love rock climbing, and I think it's great for aviation.
Are we flying through the cloud right now? Roll out, there it is. There it is. All right.
Hey guys, it's Matthew from Sling Pilot Academy. I am super excited for this week's video. It's our second episode of our Time Between Takeoff series, where we highlight what Sling students do outside of their training here. Daniel and I go for a rock climb at an indoor gym, have a really fun flight, and sit down for an interview. Stay tuned to see how it goes.
Hi, my name is Daniel. I'm a private pilot and working on my instrument rating.
Hi, my name is Matthew. I've been working here at Sling for the past 5 years in the media team and as an enrollment specialist.
Well, I grew up in Chattanooga, Tennessee, which is a pretty good spot for outdoor enthusiasts in general. And the first time I climbed was a rock wall on a support for a bridge, which was pretty cool. But I was a kid, so I barely remember that, honestly. I didn't really get into it until freshman year of college. I joined a climbing club. And then one summer I was taking some extra classes and the other school had a climbing gym. So I decided to do that as my exercise, and I got a job that summer at a climbing gym. And the rest is history, I suppose. I've been consistently climbing from 2016 until 2022, early 2022. So I've been off for about 2 years.
Really started when I was a kid. I just liked climbing things. I always climbed trees, whatever I could, walls, anything. Kind of during high school, I was just really busy with traditional sports like basketball, volleyball, track, and I didn't really have time to do other stuff. But after I graduated that summer, right after senior year, I thought, I'm not really doing anything else to exercise right now other than going and slacklining at the beach, so maybe I should do something for my upper body. And climbing sounded really fun. I got one other friend to get into it with me, and the rest is history. Yeah, we started going every day for a while. I didn't keep that up forever, but I was really into it. We were watching videos every day, going and climbing. I just found it really fun, and like I said before, it just kind of makes everything else melt away, similar to flying.
In both fields, you have to have really good situational awareness. There's a lot of critical thinking in climbing, mitigating risk, staying focused, performing at your best. It's not as physical in the plane, but when you're climbing, you also have to know your limits, because you don't want to try something that's going to put you in a situation where you're going to fall and hurt yourself or embarrass yourself in front of a bunch of other people at the gym.
Clear, prop.
All aircraft read back, hold short structure and runway assignment with your call sign. Advise on initial contact. You have information, November.
November.
So what do you like to do in your free time outside of the time that you're here at Sling?
Well, in my very limited free time, I like to, one, spend time with my girlfriend, Rachel. And two, we go on hikes, I play disc golf, and we go climbing like
Cool.
we did last night.
Yes.
I love rock climbing, and I think it's great for aviation. It is kind of a mental workout, especially if you're doing bouldering, which is just focusing on kind of like the crux or the hardest part of the route. That really forces you to think ahead of time, plan, because you do have limited resources, which would be your strength in this case, and the plane is going to be stuff like fuel. But either way, you have to plan ahead, and I think it helps you with that aspect of it for sure.
Weather's actually clearing up pretty nice right now.
Looking better. The sun is peeking through. Should have brought my aviators.
So for those people who are out there watching this who don't know exactly who you are and where you're at, what are you working on right now?
I just got my PPL on January 8th. So this is my first flight as PIC with a passenger.
Yes.
And I am now working on my instrument rating. I went straight into it the day after I passed my check ride. I did my first sim. And yeah, I'm just studying a lot and simming. Studying and simming.
I got into aviation the way most people do, by getting on a airline and flying somewhere far away from home. My grandmother still lives in Guadalajara, Mexico. So I first visited her at the age of 3 or something like that. And I don't really remember that flight, but I do remember the other times when we would fly. And it was always a thrill. I always wanted to sit at the window seat on the plane. Always wanted to watch the takeoff, watch the landing, keep an eye out for clouds. And from there, I always thought, you know what, it'd be cool to learn how to fly, because I like driving, and I always knew that I would be an okay pilot. And so I thought this could be something that I could do as a hobby. And when I changed my mind, instead of going to med school to become a pilot, I realized, yeah, I could fly for my job and do a thing that I would love every single day. And if you do what you love every day, you'll never work a day in your life.
Sling 864 Sierra Lima, holding short 29 right, right 270.
Sling 864 Sierra Lima, Torrance Tower, approved as requested, runway 29 right, clear for takeoff.
Airspeed is alive, right rudder,
Alpha, Torrance Tower,
waiting for 50, 55, rotate.
Nice, very smooth.
So how I got into aviation, I've flown a lot since I was really young. I was born in New Zealand, but my mom's from here. So we flew back and forth a lot. I got to meet a lot of cool pilots and just be in planes. As I grew up, I was really into aerospace and engineering, more so than aviation in particular. But at some point I decided engineering wasn't necessarily what I wanted to do, even though I enjoyed learning about it. And aviation was a really great application of that. That was a choice that I made later when I was in high school. But my dad actually took me on some discovery flights when I was younger, probably about 15. He took me over to wait at Compton Airport, go wait in line at the Young Eagles, get a free flight. So that was pretty cool. That was kind of my introduction. That was when I got my feet wet, got really interested. I flew at the airport here in some older aircraft, and I was younger, and I wasn't really super passionate about it yet. So I was a little bit scared off by some of the older aircraft. But then my dad actually came here and started flying at Sling, and he gave me a call before he even came home, and he's like, hey, you gotta try these aircraft out. So I came down, I flew with Jean, and of course that totally changed my mind. And since then, I've loved aviation and been enjoying being part of it. I also met some really cool people in South Africa. My dad and I got to go build the first Sling TSI there, so that obviously also helped me really cement my love of aviation.
Are we flying through the cloud right now?
Let's say 1400.
Yeah, 1400.
1400, roger, thank you, and frequency change approved.
Totally agree. Totally agree. How do you feel like instrument has changed you as a private pilot so far?
Made me a much smoother pilot overall.
You seem very on top of things. I mean, I never flew with you before or saw how you flew before. I assume you already like that a bit, but
Yeah.
I feel like instrument really adds to that.
My scan has gotten a lot better.
Awareness.
Yeah. Situational awareness of my instruments, keeping my airspeed within, a couple knots, keeping my altitude within 50 feet, my heading no more than 5 degrees off.
It's pretty quiet out here in general today. I mean, you got boats out there like usual, but there's not a lot of movement in the harbor right now.
No.
Well, scheduling is pretty good. About whenever I have a conflict, they will move things around and get everyone in the planes that they need to be at the time. Now that I've completed instrument ground school, I do have a significant chunk of free time every day. I have 2 more hours, so I do have a little bit more free time now. But even back then, I was still taking time to go disc golfing on the weekend, or go hiking with my girlfriend, or get in an extra flight on the weekend, or something like that. So it's pretty easy to fit other things into your schedule, as long as you're staying on top of your studying every day. You're either flying or doing a sim every day, and if there's class, you got to show up to class. But once you get that done, the rest is whatever you want.
All right, you want a 45?
Yeah, let's do it. Steep turn. Here
All right,
we go.
steep turn. Ready?
Yep.
All right.
So in my free time, I spend a lot of time climbing, do some pickleball, some slacklining on the weekends down at the beach. And now that I have a mountain bike, I'm spending a lot of time doing that as well. So pretty much I just try to fill in my time with fun physical activity. And definitely there's a community of people here that do the same thing. So we get a lot of people that climb.
Join the group chat.
Yeah, join the group chat, Mountain Goats.
Mountain goats.
We get a lot of people that climb, we get a lot of people that just hang out outside of here. We have a really nice community.
Definitely make sure you're on top of your study habits. It can be really easy to think all I have to do is show up and fly and be in class, but if you're not taking notes, if you're not studying an hour or so at least every day outside of class, you're going to get behind. Make sure that you're doing your slides, make sure that you are studying for your written, make sure that you are getting mentoring sessions. They're free. It helps them become CFIs. But yeah, make sure that you're on top of the reason you're here. The reason you're here is to learn how to fly. And then once that's taken care of, there's a lot of fun things for you to do outside of that. But eat, sleep, fly. And have fun.
Get my airspeed to 91. And why is it 91? Because that's our maneuvering speed. And what is maneuvering speed, you ask? Well, maneuvering speed is in the event of needing a full deflection, you will not overdo your load factor and break your plane.
Pretty important thing to know.
We like not breaking the plane.
Yeah.
It's gonna sound like the same thing, but my number one thing is gonna be stay on top of your studies, and if not, get ahead on your studies. A huge part about that is not just making sure that you keep up, but if you're a little bit ahead and you finish something faster than you're meant to in the plane, you know what you're supposed to work on next. If you're doing stalls or something and your instructor says, hey, you're great at those, we don't have to do this for the rest of the lesson, what else do you want to work on? And you know that steep turns or turns around a point is next, you can go work on that next. And that'll make it a lot easier. You can use a lot more time of that lesson. And that's just because you stayed ahead on your ground school. So it tends to affect everything if you do that.
Get back on center line. Pretty.
Sling 4 Sierra Lima, turn left when able, contact ground. Good day.
Left on echo, over to ground, 4 Sierra Lima.
You are taking every opportunity that you can to learn. You will be better for it.
Yeah, definitely.
The human brain can not be filled. There's no limit to the amount of knowledge that you can learn. You'll forget some stuff eventually, sure, if you're not using it all the time. But studies have been, shown to say the limitless potential. So you can be the best version of yourself as long as you're pushing yourself to that.
For both climbing and flying, it's very easy to kind of track your progress and see your milestones as you complete them. It's also really easy to kind of push those milestones aside and say, no, I just want to keep moving on. I want to work on the next thing. That's great. It's good to keep moving on, but it's important to slow down sometimes, take a deep breath, and look at what you've accomplished. Daniel right here, when did his first sim session right the next day, right after his private. But you got to make sure that you celebrate that night. Make sure that you're having a good time as well, because you want to enjoy aviation when you finish.
Oh, I celebrated.
Good job today.
Thank you.
Thanks for doing this. This was
right.
fun.
I just want to say also, thank you for letting me be your first passenger. I'm honored. That was really fun. I don't think I've actually ever been anyone's first passenger before, so that was pretty cool.
Thank you for trusting me.
Definitely.
Hope you guys liked the video. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. Leave a comment to let us know what you think. And if you're a climber and you're interested in flying, come check it out.